I'm Mike Aprat. I am a game master. I've been game mastering for 30 years. I'm also a board game designer, and I am going to be running the Alien RPG by Free League um, for Geek Therapeutics and Cohort 12. We are running a particular scenario that I wrote myself called Flight of the Malaga, and I hope that you watching will enjoy this. And now I'm going to turn it over to introduce the players for this. Brianna?
Hi, I'm Brianna. I am playing Robina or Dr. Robina Deacon. I'm a therapist in Bellingham, Washington, and I work with kids, families, and individuals, and I love all sorts of games and nerdy things.
Kyle?
Oh, me? I am Kyle Roderick. I co-run the TCU supportive gaming community with Joe LeConte, who's also on stream tonight. I'm going to be playing Vice Director Larry Weiser, and this is my first time playing Alien. I've also never seen the movies.
Joe?
Hi, everybody. My name is Joe LeConte, and as Kyle mentioned, I am one of the other co-leaders of the supportive gaming community at Texas Christian University. I'm also the host of the Tabletop Theory YouTube channel, and I am tonight playing Chief Mechanic John Davis, a bit of a lazy but ultimately very skillful individual.
Frey?
Hey, I am Frey, and I am playing Dr. Jürgen Honig. He is a scientist, and he is ready to climb his way to the top.
So, we begin with everyone waking up in the cryo chambers. It's a stock white clean room that has a bunch of sleeping pods in it, and is where you would normally go to sleep for long haul trips. However, it's not really that there's something going wrong, because you guys do not wake up calmly and gently. You are woken up with red lights and a flashing alarm.
Or incompetence.
So to start this out, this sudden waking up is a big problem, and everyone is going to start with a level of stress. On your character sheet on the left side, there is a stress bar, and you can click on one of those dots, doesn't matter which one, and that will give you that stress level there. Now, other in this room, there is a terminal, which is currently flashing through a bunch of information and has a blinking line across the top of it. And the hallway that leads to where you would put on overalls or other, get your gear on. At this point in time, the first person to really get up and get moving is the captain, who stumbles over to the terminal and looks at it, and she yells back, "Fire and lower engineering. We need to get dressed and get down there in a hurry." And I would like, as people are starting to wake up, everyone starts to scramble around and put things on. Deacon, you notice two things. First off, the synthetic rose is not there, which is understandable because she's not, she wouldn't be sleeping with everybody else. She would typically be watching the ship while in transit. And the second is that while everybody's getting up and moving around, Burns, the assistant engineer, is still apparently asleep, despite the fact that there's a massive alarm going off and everyone's yelling and screaming. What would you like to do with this situation? Nobody else seems to have noticed.
I think I'm not particularly sure. I'm kind of chewing on it a little bit. So I saw, and I'm I have to admit that halfway through that statement, I missed exactly what I saw Burns do.
She's asleep. So
she's asleep.
So everyone would be sleeping in cryo chambers, and everyone else is up, and she's just like
and
still
she's not
lying there.
okay. Cool. All right. So I guess what I'll do is I'll make sure that I grab what I need. Make sure that if there's chaos going around, I have my surgical kit or my medical kit on me. I'm gonna go poke at Burns and try to wake her up. Maybe call attention over to whoever else is nearest to me, just in case I need some support.
At this point in time, most of the crew has left. Director Weiser is still getting up and is still there, and I would say that Dr. Honig would also be around. The computer indicates that she is still healthy and fine. All readings are green. She just still seems to be asleep.
A really heavy sleeper. Okay.
Like a really heavy sleeper, which is weird because you're in a technologically induced coma is functionally what happens when you go into one of these, and when you wakes it up, you get you just wake up. So continue sleeping is very weird. It's like somebody continuing to sleep after they've been dunked under off of a bridge into water or something like that.
Okay. So what do I know exactly what's in my surgical kit?
Surgical tools? I would actually think that you probably wouldn't have your surgical kit with you.
Okay.
You would have like a basic medical kit at this point in time. Most everybody, you don't go to sleep with all of your equipment. You go to sleep in your tidy whities, and then when you wake up, there's a locker room that's next to you, which would have your jumpsuits and your overalls and whatnot. And you have a basic medical kit with you, with a variety of medicines and things.
Okay, cool. So medical kit. Sorry, my character sheet says surgical, so medical kit. So
yes.
All right, so I'm gonna assume basic bandages, ointments, what have you. All right, I'm gonna go check the computer. And anybody else who's computer inclined, who would be more computer inclined than me? Assuming maybe the director.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to look around and see what was causing the alarm. But I wouldn't want to do too much to get around. I blame the alarm on the incompetence, but I'm trying to find the direct result of the incompetence with the minimum amount of effort.
So the terminal is flashing with information about fire and lower engineering, and it looks like there's several places where fire has broken out. There is a number of things, and there's information from Mother, the ship's computer, which is reading through there, but a lot of data is rolling by pretty quickly. Usually you would rely on the ship's synthetic to interface with Mother, because Mother has a tendency to talk really fast about technical things, which is to say it's a stream of data coming from Mother, and then you need someone to interpret it.
I don't trust that synthetic anyway, though, so I need to go physically look. I want to head in that direction.
Okay, so you head down towards lower engineering, where you run into Davis and Kingsbury and Walker. There is a pipe labeled Heaton, which is spewing fire into the hallway. Looks like the pipe was ruptured and whatever flammable gas inside is there. Currently, Walker and Kingsbury have fire suppression. They've got fire extinguishers and they're trying to put it out. But Davis is trying to work on a terminal that's nearby to see about reducing the amount of flow through here so they actually can fight it. So what I'm going to need is our first roll of the game. From Davis. I would like you to make either a comm tech to work the computers or heavy machinery, because that's what this is responsible for getting this fire put out so that the fire team can actually put it out.
Can I assist in this by my presence showing up to command?
You most certainly can. Go ahead and roll command for me, and also don't forget that you should have a level of stress, because everybody has a level of stress when they woke up.
I added it. So that's +1 for modifiers, the stress, or do I not add the +1 modifier?
It is the system will automatically handle that.
So 0.
So you just click on command in this case and add your +1 modifier because you're cool.
All blanks.
Okay. So you're not able to give him any helpful advice in this particular circumstance. If you wanted to push this roll, you would get a level of stress and you would re-roll it.
I'll do it.
Okay. So gain a level of stress and just click it again.
Bring my character sheet back up here. Push and command.
2.
2.
So what sort of words of advice do you give to Davis as he's working on this
I
issue?
feel like I would just work, in order, get this under control.
Okay. Well, Davis, you've got the boss watching, so I would like you to go ahead and make either heavy machinery or a Comtech roll as with a +2 modifier, because Director Weiser is assisting you.
All right, copy that. As I hear him say, get it under control, since Weiser is my rival on my character sheet, I'll tentatively kind of crack my neck a little bit, and while not looking at him, and say, sorry, sir, without your direction, never would have noticed the blaring alarm.
All right.
And that's my roll.
All right.
1 6.
And you were able to get the system shut down. You crank a wheel. It slows down the amount of flow of heat through the system. Walker and Kingsbury hit it with fire suppression, and it gets out. And there's like a bit of a sealant foam that you're able to spray onto the crack. So cutting back to cryo chambers, Deacon and Honig are still there. Burns is asleep. All the other crew are off, presumably dealing with this fire.
Honig will come over to where Burns is sleeping, look over at the doctor and be like, everything looks fine?
Everything looks fine?
Like,
are you asking or are you telling me?
No, I was
asking.
Fine. I was asking. In terms of vitals, because it seems odd that she hasn't woken up.
You think it's odd, yes. Her vitals seem fine. But a scientist like you should know that, right? By the way, my character also does not like you.
Thank you for telling me that in third person. I appreciate it. We totally have time for that. Yes, and it's your job to be in charge of the health of our crew. But regardless, we need to get her up.
Working on it.
Is there anything I can use observation to see if there's anything wrong with the tech itself?
Yeah, so you look over the tech. Everything is working fine. Like I said, she's still everybody's little pod has a readout on it that tells you all the vital stats. And she's perfectly healthy and everything seems to be fine, and the tech indicates that wake up sequence has begun.
Okay.
And it's just that she just seems to be just still dead asleep. In fact, as you're watching this, she starts to stir. She starts moving and getting up, and she's kind of holding her head and kind of rolls over and grabs the vomit bucket that's nearby, because cryosleep is rough on a lot of people, and that's a fairly common function of just get it all out when you don't have it. And she's just like, what's going on? Alarm?
There seems to be a problem in engineering, so I would go and check with your supervisor.
It's probably Davis or something. I got it. And she gets up and she's got that walk of somebody who is literally just woken up from a dead sleep and is sort of stumbling around drunk. She runs over to the console and looks at it and goes, "Oh, I knew that was going to be a problem. Can't get anything done around here." And she immediately presses off. A few minutes go by. The alarm stops. and we get a call from a shipwide call from the captain. It says, "All hands to meeting room. We've got the emergency is done, but all hands to meeting room. We've got to discuss where we are. Rose, find out the situation from Mother and be prepared to brief." And that's it. If anybody has anything that they need to do before they go into the meeting room, you can let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to assume that everybody is just going to go to the meeting room.
Make sure I find my jumpsuit with all my gear in it first.
Yep. Also assuming that everybody would go out and get their normal gear. So at this point in time, everybody would be equipped with what they would normally have on them, as listed on your character sheet. So smash cut to the meeting room, which has all of the characters there. There's the captain, Captain Stone, her first officer, Kingsbury, who's sort of the ship's dad. Davis and Walker come in together. Honig and Deacon show up probably after making a swing by the science labs and medical labs. Burns and Rose, and then of course there's the security team, which is Wong with Farquhar and Walker. And the captain says, "All right, let's keep this short and sweet. That was obviously a rude awakening, but everybody's still with us, and so we should be good to go here once we get the everything taken care of and under control." So, Rose, give us the situation. Where are we? What does Mother have, and where are we at? And Rose says, "Thank you, Captain. So, as a reminder, our mission briefing when we left from Anchorhead Station was to go to the Carmen 3 resupply station and recover some crates. The company wants them fairly badly and is paying a premium to get them delivered promptly and safely. En route to the Carmen station, we picked up an emergency distress signal from an EEV, and per maritime law did a course correction to meet up with and provide rescue for this emergency escape vehicle. During this course correction, a rupture occurred in the heating system in the lower engineering, which caused several fires to outbreak. And per protocols, we woke up, the crew was woken up to facilitate the repair of the ship and to deal with the situation. We are near course, and this slight delay of picking up this EEV will not delay us too badly from reaching Carmen Station. Captain comes in and it's like, "All right, so that tells us where we are, and that reminds us what we're doing. Now, one thing I have to say is, when I was down in lower engineering dealing with this mess, which did cause a significant shakeup across the ship, I couldn't help but notice what appeared to be bullet holes in some of the conduits and piping down in lower engineering. If anybody knows anything about these, please bring it forward so the appropriate parties can be punished."
Who's shooting holes in my ship? Excuse me, Captain, your ship.
My ship.
Okay, well then I will leave it to you to come forward at the appropriate time. In the meantime, Kerr, I need you on the bridge to steer the ship so we can pick up this EEV. Wong, have your team ready. Deacon, go with them in case there's anybody needing it there. You'll be at the forward bay to pick up the EV there. Davis and Burns, I need you to go down to engineering, and I need you to fix the problems and make sure that the problems are solved so that we don't have to worry about more fires breaking out, and patch any bullet holes that you find down there. I'm going to be in my cabin there. Kingsbury, you have the bridge. You have your roles dismissed.
Roger, Roger.
So, if anybody has any particular things that they're going to do other than what you've just been ordered to do, or you weren't giving any orders, you're free to sort of go around to a various place on the ship. As pointed out, this is the image you're looking at here is the Malaga. It is a very large vessel. In fact, let me do this here. As a reminder, it crews 12 with 12 cryopods, is almost 400 meters in length, has 2 EEVs and 2 shuttles on board.
Before I head down to deal with engineering, I'm going to go see if I can find a terminal to talk to Mother briefly.
Okay. Every sort of station or major area aboard the ship would have a terminal. That terminal would be able to limitedly access Mother. Basically, you can pose questions to Mother. It's not full access. You have to go to Mother's room for that purpose.
Okay.
Or you can also call. It's got like a call option that will allow you to call like to the bridge, or if you've got captain's permission, you could do a ship-wide call. And then those terminals, everybody, it's not written on your character sheet, but everybody has like a key card thing that's like this plastic card that you could stick in there to identify yourself. So you find a terminal, and
Mother, when did the decompression occur in whatever section the captain referred to with bullet holes?
Mother's response comes back with, course correction at 11:28, rupture and fire detected at 11:28 and 15 seconds. So basically, the ship turned, and that jostling caused the ruptures to occur.
Mother, what were the wake-up times for the crew currently? I'm basically trying to determine if any crew were up and active when those bullet holes may have appeared.
So the emergency crew wake-up procedures began, seconds basically after fire was detected.
Okay.
Rose, the synthetic, was already awake and listed as in the science lab when this occurred. And then you also notice that Mother did track like when various people woke up, and that Burns was like the last one by like 5 minutes to wake up, but everybody else sort of woke up all about the same time per normal procedures. Right. As far as finding out about when those bullet holes might have occurred, those apparently weren't. They were pre-existing bullet holes.
Like pre-existing, like before we went for our mission, or they
like before you went for the mission.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood.
Because Rose was the only active person on the ship, and she was in science lab, so it's not like she was down in lower engineering shooting guns around. And that kind of damage could have been like previous, and it didn't come about until the ship underwent a gravity shift because they did a course correction in FTL.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like this has happened while everybody was asleep.
Yeah, this is not. The bullet holes didn't manifest while people were sleeping.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Okay.
And I'll probably give Burns a hard time about getting an extra 40 winks on my way down to engineering with her.
She's like, okay, I'll follow that.
I'm feeling all right. I need to know if you're not tip top, if we're all going to be fixing what Captain needs fixed.
No, everything's fine.
All right, savvy.
In fact, when you get down there, and that was, you were Davis. I got to remember who is who in this case by voice. Yeah, so when you get down there, you get down there and looking at the bullet holes and looking at the ruptures and what needs to be fixed, it's gonna be a lot of work. And there's two ways to get through this. One is you can do this the quick and dirty way, or and that will give you extra time to sort of slack off. Just like, yeah, you do a good enough job. The other way is to do it right, which is probably going to be a whole lot of work on that case. Burns is looking at this going, oh man, we're going to need to get some plating, and we're going to have to rivet on that, and we're going to have to make sure that it fits, and we get proper seals and get some probably depressurized sections, and she just starts listing off all the things that need to be done. She's like, well, I guess we got to get to it.
Burnsy, you know what a piano is?
Yes.
Okay. So back home, there's these fancy pianos called Steinways, right? And then there's these not so fancy pianos called Baldwins. All right. We're not making a Steinway here, Burnsy. We're making a Baldwin. So let's make sure that we're keeping things, shall we say, ship-shape enough for the company. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
We got to get it done and running.
I would actually like you in this particular case to make a either command or manipulation to see if you can convince Burns that she doesn't need to go and do all of this all of this hard work.
You said command or manipulation?
Yeah, one of those two. Your pick.
All right. I'll use command. Okay. And I'll go for it.
Wow.
Okay, so you give her a good talking to. She's willing to see things your way on that point. She's willing to just go along with the, okay, well, we'll just make sure everything's patched. Do it the easy way.
And then we'll make sure that we get people back at Dry Dock to do the real work. We got to make sure that we're mobile out here.
I
moving around.
understand. Yes, sir. You have a couple extra successes which you could use for a stunt. Is there any way that anything that you would want to do with this?
Yeah, if it's possible. Since Davis is the chief engineer and, he tries to do a lot with a little because he's been given so little to do so much with for so long, he can do something with nothing. So he'll, if I can use those extra successes to actually do a good job while doing as little work as possible, to maybe like do a little Fonzie pop on something that like is a malfunctioning piece of equipment and give it a little percussive maintenance to maybe add some extra strength to the ship, but without expending any extra effort.
I understand. Okay, so if this comes up in the future, then we'll see it there. So you actually do the work, and you do it in the low level, low stress requirement for that, but you're able to get it done and do a good job. And if it comes up where that becomes an issue, you'll probably get a bonus to that role if that should happen later.
Copy that.
All right. Now the ship is in subspace and goes over to the is going to go pick up this EEV, emergency escape vehicle. It's a small craft. It's got 4 pods. A modicum amount of navigation, a really slow FTL. The Malaga itself actually has one of these, and for those of you who've seen the films, this is the EV that you got to see at the very beginning of Aliens. That's the style I have on that. Deacon, you arrive up to the front with Farquhar and Walker. Wong shows up a little bit late, but they're all now bristling with weapons. The ship moves in, it goes to pick up this EEV, and using tethers, it pulls it into like a loading dock, like an umbilical, which connects over to this other ship. And the doors come open, and the Marines, the actual armed combat people, go in and secure the place, make sure that there's nobody going to jump out of them, and then you come in directly after. As I mentioned before, the EV has 4 cryopods and like a seat for navigation, a little bit of stuff there. One of the cryopods is open, which is a little unusual. 2 of the cryopods are closed and depowered, and one is closed and powered, apparently with somebody inside.
The non-powered ones, there's no one in those ones, right?
Nobody in those.
Okay.
Nobody in those. And the open one appears to be just open, maybe a malfunction, maybe it was powered up, but just nobody used it.
There's no like signs of like hair or anything that might be in there from someone who might have been in and gotten up.
You look inside and you don't see anything like that. There's a weird yellowish stain in the bottom of the pod, which is gross, but not totally unexpected.
Awesome. All right. I guess I'm gonna go check on the person who is in the pod, the one that's closed.
So you check this pod out. It's currently sustaining somebody. Their vitals are not great, but they're not immediately life-threatening. It looks like when they went into pod, they did not do it properly. They didn't follow the right procedures on that, as evident with the fact that this guy is still clothed in the pod. But otherwise he seems to be healthy. It's a dude. He's got like a scraggly beard that looks like he would normally keep it shaven, but it's just sort of let it grow out. And his hair is kind of unkempt, like he hasn't seen a shower in a week or two. But other than that, he seems to be fine, wearing what looks like a jumpsuit, or maybe you might even say a flight suit. According to the data indicator on the bottom, this is a MORE, M-O-R-E, and he's been in cryostasis for not a long time, probably about actually specifically he's been in cryostasis for 9 days.
Well, I guess we should wake him up.
Okay. You go through the wake up procedure, and while you're doing that, Wong is pulling off flight recorder data, and the other Marines are sort of just standing nearby to be ready in case there's problems. He wakes up and he's like in a panic a little bit. He's just like, well, no, oh, I've been rescued. Oh, good. Oh, God. Yeah, and then he kind of collapses. He's severely dehydrated. Now that you've got the pod open, you can tell that. He's going to need a drip to get things going. And he looks like he might be suffering some sort of pain from that as well. It would not be unreasonable to perhaps give him some sedation for movement to the medical on board.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, I'm assuming I've got the equipment to sedate him. Yes. Do I have anything to like transport him, or should if I don't, I'm going to send some Marines to the medic bay to go bring some stuff over? In
preparation for this, there are gurneys or stretchers that would be useful that the Marines have brought in advance, because you pick up an EEV, there's a non-zero chance there's somebody who's going to be in trouble. So that's the you have that capability already. Okay. Walker and Farquhar help lift the guy onto the gurney to move out of there. You get the radio comes up. You hear Wong get on the radio with Kingsbury, who's presumably on the bridge. He's like, "Hey, how's the situation down there? Have you gotten everybody off? Because we have to do a short jump to get to the station, and we need to cut loose." Wong's like, "Yeah, everything's good. We got everything taken care of. I got all the data. We'll be going soon. One survivor, and we'll be leaving." And they're like, "All right, Roger, Roger," and cuts loose as you are taking. You are taking more to the medical bay, along with Walker and Deacon. As you were leaving, and so you and Moore and Walker and Farquhar going out there, Wong is falling behind. As you get around the corner, you think you spot something coming off of the EEV, this Moore's shuttle. It's about the size of a cat. It moves pretty quickly, and it's kind of flesh-colored, but is not. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a trick of the light. You can't be sure if you did see anything or whatnot. Then they close the. She closes the umbilical, and they cut loose from the EEV, which they let drift. The captain gets on ship wide and says, "All right, everybody. We are about to do a short jump. This will not take very long, so we're not going to go into sleep for this. Do keep your wits about you. Keep yourself hydrated, because we're about to go. Stand by for jumping." Now, in this universe, if you go into faster than light travel, it has some terrible psychological effects on people if you are awake while in hyperspace. you can develop what's called Pandorum Syndrome after a ship that was the situation where they went crazy and killed each other. What will happen is that you guys will need to either cool your heels off or gain a level of stress as you go through this jump. It's not a big deal to be in hyperspace for a short period of time. It's a little bit like maybe taking maybe like doing like skydiving kind of thing, where it's like, yeah, your adrenaline will pump for a little bit and then you'll get over it. So real quick, I'm going to go through each of the characters to find out if you're either cooling your heels or you have a particular action you would like to perform while this jump is taking place. And
How long is this jump going to last?
20 minutes. 20 minutes in ship space. A fun fact about the way that the FTL works in the system is that the faster than light you go, the more time inside the tide of dilation occurs inside the ship, and that it will actually extend time out from within the ship there. But it's only going to be a 20-minute jump from within the ship. Director Vicer, are you cooling your heels, so to speak, having a meal or calming down, or you have an action that you want to take place while everybody is doing
No,
this jump?
I'm not super happy that we're off course, because I want the company to have the crates on time. And so I need also to have a good excuse for why we have taken this diversion. So I need to interview any of the survivors from the EEV during this time immediately.
All right. And then for your knowledge, it was the ship did Mother confirmed the ship did pick up a distress signal, and you are obligated to go.
I know
go
the
do
obligation,
that.
but I need the monetary.
Yeah, I understand. All right, so you are going to go try to talk with Moore, then?
Is Moore the... Yeah,
Moore is the survivor.
Yeah.
Moore is the only person on the emergency vehicle that you guys picked up.
I need to know who's taking up our time.
Okay. Then I'm going to jump to Deacon. Moore is somewhat delirious and is kind of coming in and out of consciousness.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep working and try to stabilize him a little bit. Even, I could probably make the judgment if 20 minutes is gonna be okay, but I have this intense urge to make sure like this guy's gonna pull through, especially since he's been assuming through at least 9 days of improper care. 20 more minutes might be a tipping point.
A sedation would probably be appropriate then. Mm-hmm. If he's unconscious because he's sedated, it won't have an effect on him.
Okay. Well. So he's sedated, but he's coming in and out of delirium then?
Yeah, or? So you brought him back to medical, and during the transit back to medical, he's coming in and out of delirium on that. He's just like he's like waking up in a little bit of a panic. He kind of wants to know where he is, and he asks like where we're going, like where are we going, and then he kind of falls asleep before he necessarily gets the answer. So he's kind of got that coming in and out of consciousness little thing going on there. But yeah, if you fully sedate him, especially if it's going to be a non-sleep jump, which you're going to take, that would protect his sanity from this, especially if he seems to be under a lot of stress.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm following you. Let's go ahead and fully sedate, and then I'll just keep running vitals and see what else is going on.
Because the director is coming in to ask more question, director, you get basically time to get one question before the doctor puts him under.
Actually, as I see that she's putting him under, I would realize the situation, like that this person's not in a state to be subject to my wishes, my interrogation. I would just kind of storm off in a huff.
Great. All right, that works out. Dr. Honig, what are you doing during this time period?
During this time period, I am I'm probably gonna just chill and cool my heels.
Okay.
Specifically, probably make sure I get a glass of water. Everything's latched down, and just meditate or wait it out.
Okay. The ship has actually has cabin space, individual cabins for all the senior staff on board. So you have your own cabin because you're fourth officer, I believe,
Right.
Or fifth officer, one of those. But you have your own cabin, and things have been shuffled around. Apparently, when the ship did that jump, it threw some stuff off. But yeah, you cool your heels, and you don't. Since actually it doesn't seem like any of you are really doing anything strenuous, I'm actually going to let you remove a level of stress. And that can happen for each of you. Davis, your work is functionally done, so how do you spend your time cooling your heels, unless you've got something specific you want to do?
At the moment, I am going to engage in everybody's favorite pastime in Alien, and I will smoke him since I got him, and I will share one with Burns and pass that flask around.
All right. Burns doesn't smoke. She's just like, no, I can't. But you are able to track down Walker, and Walker is happy to take a break and share smoke and a swig with you.
All right.
All right, and so you should bring yourself to 0 stress at this point, because I believe that would bring you down.
Copy that.
All right. The ship jumps, and then you come out, and when it comes out, everybody hears a metallic ping as something metal hits the side of the ship. And you get a call from the meeting from the captain. Okay, we have a situation update. All hands back to the meeting room. Situation has changed. Everyone presumably goes to the meeting room there, and she's standing ready, and she's like, "All right, Rose, bring it up on screen." And Rose types in something on a tablet, and you see the supply station Malaga. And if you actually click on the image, it'll give you a nice bigger one pop up there in a cloud of its own debris. She's like, and Rose is like, "We've arrived at the station Malaga. As you know, this is a supply station for the San Dominigo sector, or supply station Carmen. And it's a supply station for this sector. They appear to have suffered a catastrophic failure in one of the reactors, and the whole station is surrounded by debris and and the radiation is making communication to the station impossible."
This is where the crates are, as well.
This is where the crates are. Captain's like, "All right, well, we've analyzed it, and there's good news and bad news. The good news is there's still power on the station, and the primary spire is still in good shape. So presumably there will still be people alive, and they will be able to, and that they will be able to help us fulfill our mission. Remember, we are not search and rescue. We do not have capability of bringing people over." Because we don't have the facilities to house them. We have our job, and we'll make sure the authorities know the situation. The bad news is the docking clamps that we would typically dock the Malaga to so that we could go over appear to be damaged beyond repair at this point. So we're going to have a shuttle go over to get the crates and retrieve the crates and bring them back, so that we can complete our mission properly. To this end, Kerr, you are up. You will fly the Pamela over, and I'm going to send Wong. You are going to take the security team over as well. Kingsbury will be in charge of that mission. As for the rest of us, we will stand on standby waiting for communications to occur. So one of your primary missions will be to restore the communications when you get over to the station. I trust that you will leave right away, and if anybody has any questions or anything to bring up now, we're on a timetable and a time schedule, so I'd like to hear them.
We
All
get
right,
hazard pay for this?
She glances over at Vicer.
Davis, if you have concerns with your compensation, you should come to me directly.
We will, given circumstances, we will see about possibility of gaining some sort of hazard pay from this. But for right now, we have presumed that we are going to enjoy our 1.35 shares for doing this mission quickly and efficiently.
Generous 1.35 shares, I might add.
As a note, everybody knows that that's actually quite generous for the company. All right, so I will leave you guys to it, and dismissed. So Wong, Farquhar, and Walker are going to be a part of the security team. They're going to be heading over on the Pamela, as will Kingsbury and Kerr. Oh, I had a note here. Because of actually no, that's fine. That's correct. We'll go with that. So the captain has basically left the rest of you to go about what you are going go about your business, checking up the ship and seeing what needs to be done. Burns says she's going to go. She knows the work has been done properly, but she's still going to check the ship out to see if there's any more damage, and proceeds to leave to go just do more work, as is a typical Burns thing to do. The four remaining of you, outside of the captain and Rose, are left in the meeting room with the capability of doing stuff. So we'll start with Davis on this.
Davis will go over to Visor. And, well, I'm coming to you directly, sir.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
I suppose this is the point where we negotiate.
This is the point where you apologize and say, you're right, at 1.35 shares is more than plenty to do my job.
See, the extra responsibility of picking up extra cargo is not part
You
of the
knew
initial
this was
contract.
in the description. This is always the way it is.
Always the way it is hazard pay.
Is
for
this your
extra
first time,
hazards.
little girl?
See, I'm thinking about filing hostile work environment claims in this
Oh,
situation.
everyone's going to believe the big man with his hostile work environment complaining about the suit who treats him poorly.
It's okay. I know that space is a big and cold and scary place. We'll be here to keep you warm.
Oh, yeah. I know you're so scared. You're so
Now,
scared.
now, boys. Calm
Doctor,
down.
is your patient more alive than this one here?
Hopefully so. But, we can take this discussion somewhere else. Fighting in front of the rest of the crew is setting a very poor example, Director.
Oh, she's right. You're supposed to be above this. An example to all us.
Davis, you too. Settle.
No one's fighting here, Doctor. It's friendly banter. Right, Davis?
We're all friends.
Sounds friendly enough.
Well, with that, Dr. Deegan's going to turn her nose up at these boys and go back to medic to go check on her patient.
And I'm very interested as well in the patient.
Dr. Honig, do you stick around for this exchange, or did you have something else that you wanted to sneak off to do?
Yeah, he's gonna just sneak off to. Well, actually, question: did anything? Well, he's gonna go check on the science lab, make sure that everything is still like good and in place, and then he's actually gonna go and check on. Because you mentioned that there was some yellow goo at the bottom of one of the other cryo containers.
Yeah, you heard mention of like a yellowish stain at the bottom of one of the cryo containers. And when you go into the science lab, you actually see a different, or is it the same yellowish stain on the on the floor of the science lab there. It looks like something yellow and somewhat viscous is leaking out of a cabinet nearby.
Okay. So then can I collect a sample of it? Because I think he'd be a little wary of opening it directly. He might like want to look at the sample first and then investigate more of the actual thing.
I presume that you grab like a spatula or something like that to scrape up some of it.
Right.
And then science it.
Yes.
It looks like it's some sort of a like a heavy saturate compound.
Okay.
Is
it organic?
No, it's benign. It's like a sulfur. It's like a sodium sulfur mixture with another agent in there that seems to have just like somebody was running some sort of an experiment, perhaps. It's not dangerous, but it's a mess.
And that's the same. It's similar, or it's the same liquid as what was in the open.
All you got was a description of what was in the EEV.
Okay, then I would probably want to check that as well.
You do notice something as you're sort of working on this, and you're putting a sample in the spectrometer or whatnot. Okay. You hear did not come through correctly. You hear a tipping along a one of the air ducts that runs above the science lab, like something just crawled down the tube, down the air duct, and it kind of stops near the vent. Now you've got a chair.
My room?
Yeah, in the science lab, right?
Okay.
Because there's air ducts that run through the science that run through a lot of the ship.
Yeah, of course. I was just wondering.
And this air duct above the science lab, and then there's a vent where the oxygen would come out from the life support sensor. You've got like a small step stool nearby, so you could put on that and climb up to where this vent is and probably lift it up. It's only held on by a couple of like clips, and like look inside.
Okay. Would there be a way for me to like step on the step stool, and then I have like a little flashlight that I keep in my lab pocket?
Absolutely.
Could I use the flashlight to look through the vent rather than opening it, or would I have to open it a little bit then look through?
You look through. You can look through the vent a little bit, but you can't really see anything in there. It looks empty, but you're also not getting the whole picture.
Okay. And the tipping hasn't like progressed after I flashed the light in there or anything, right? It hasn't
whatever. You heard just a little bit of a movement sound.
Mm-hmm.
When you like started like moving shining the flashlight in there, but nothing major.
Okay.
All right. While you're working on that,
yep.
Deacon and Viceroy heads to medical, and Moore's missing.
Where's your patient, doctor?
I don't know. It's your ship. You tell me.
It's the captain's ship now.
I knew I should have restrained him. I had thought about it, but...
Did you sedate him?
I did.
He should
I didn't think I need... Yeah, I didn't think I need to...
Did you do it right?
Excuse you, sir.
Clearly he's not sedated, doctor.
Or clearly somebody's messing and taking away my patients and hiding them in hijinks. I mean, what kind of operation do you run here?
Yes, clearly I was taking the body
What's the policies of this company
to take bodies out of medical bays during
to make sure
hyperdrive.
people are appropriate, right? So, anyways, again, good. Turn away from the director. Not a super big fan of macho. I've got a big ego man. And I'm gonna start looking around using my impressive skills of observation to see what happened to my patient. Did someone come in? Did something come in? Or
Sure.
is he a sleepwalker?
I real quick, I really like the exchange between Davis and Deacon and Vicer from earlier. So I like each of you guys to gain a story point. As a reminder, this is a thing that you can expend at a later point to just get a success on a check. Just toss an extra success on there. I would like Deacon to also gain a stress point. Because, well, your patient's missing, and then
Because
immediately thereafter, you start getting like questioned, which is by somebody who's kind of superior, and I think that would stress a lot of people out. Like
Just a
either one of those things would do it. Yeah.
A little bit.
So
Roll20 just booted me out real quick, so let me put my character sheet back up. There we go.
So don't need you to make a roll for this. He's clearly missing. He's not hiding in any cabinets.
I observed that he is missing.
And a check of medical looks like nothing is gone. He just he had an IV drip in him because he's dehydration, and he just apparently just pulled it out and left it hanging there. Or whatever reason why he might be on table.
Well, so I guess I thinking that he's supposedly sedated, I'm also underneath the impression that somebody or something came in, right? And so I'm also looking for, is there any obvious signs of entry? Are there things that I left in certain places that may have gotten moved, either because they're in the direct line of the table? Did they get knocked over?
So from the last time you were in here, it doesn't look like anything has been really moved.
Okay.
There is like a emergency kit that would be on the wall for like light first aid stuff. It's like basically like a medicine cabinet you might find in an office somewhere. And that's been opened, and it looks like painkillers might have been taken out of that.
Okay.
That's your observation is it looks like somebody got in here and got out the painkillers, which you presume would be more. Now, you also know the ship has not great coverage for CCTV, but it does have video that does get recorded in different sections. And the hallway outside of medical, there's a camera right outside of medical that sort of shines in through the window and the door and the hallway. So somebody coming in and out of medical would appear on there. And because it's a major station, you could call up to the bridge and presumably ask Rose or whoever's on the bridge to review footage.
Right. So I'll do that, and then I would also like to, I don't know if I can make the announcement myself or ask Rose to do it, to have people be on alert to look for my missing patient with a description of him, so that way as I wander the hallways, if someone sees him, they can radio in and let me know.
Okay. So you do that. You call up to Rose. You call up to the bridge. You get Rose, but you can hear the cap, like when she clicked over. You could also hear the captain saying something in the background, not sure what it was talking about, and you report that Moore seems to be missing, and you want to see if you can get view of the cameras or check out for the whole ship to see if you can spot him.
Yeah, so if Rose can review the cameras, but also we can make like a ship-wide announcement, like just like on radio, letting people know, at least anyone who carries a radio, or maybe the Marines, to keep an eye out for the missing person. So if they find someone with matching that description who's obviously not a crew member, that he can be gently detained, emphasis on gently,
so
nurturingly detained.
All of the Marines are off of the ship.
Okay, they're all, so like there's no security detail at all on here.
Currently, no, because all the Marines went over to the space station
Right.
to go get the cargo because they're expecting that there might be, like, they don't know what situation they're going in over there. It's something that you normally would have been going on, but presumably when the captain was providing it, she thought that you needed to be here for more. Because presumably there's more people over there that would be more helpful than like you could be more assistance to, but well, this is the situation you're in. So Rose is like, okay, I'll review the footage. Yeah, it looks like he just walked out. I'm gonna fast forward through it there. And then you hear the captain in the background. It's like, what are you looking at, Rose? It's like, oh, Dr. Deacon has reported that Moore is missing and has asked me to look around for it. And she's like, what? What do you mean Moore is missing? Hang on. Deacon, what do you mean Moore is missing? I thought that was taken care of.
I did too. There's enough sedatives to knock out a cow. He's gone.
All right. Rose is like, yeah, she has suggested doing a shipwide announcement letting us know to look for Moore and to ask him to return if he's wandering the ship. I was just about to do that, with your permission, Captain. Yeah, I'll get on that. All right, everybody. Our guest, Moore, is missing. Has apparently left the medical bay and is wandering the ship. I want everybody to be on the lookout for him, and if you find him, gently bring him back to medical. There's no reason to hurt him unless he puts up some sort of a fight. Moore, if you're here, please return back to medical. That's all. All right,
Gently
Rose.
my ass. And I storm out of the room going to find this guy.
All right. Davis. After your discussion with Vicer in the meeting room, you are presumably left to go someplace. Where did you go?
Well, if got some free time, and you said that Burns has just kind of gone off to do their own thing.
Yeah, Burns, there's always stuff to fix on the ship, and Burns seems to be the kind of person to always want to fix stuff on the ship.
Well, then I will let Burns continue to be quite proactive so that I don't have to be.
Exactly.
And I will probably go to the galley.
All right.
To find some food.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of foodstuffs there. It's a large space. It's a meeting hall. There's coffee. One of the perks of working for the company is free coffee on all the ships. And then there's a lot of like dispensers of various foodstuffs like cornflakes and tasty wheats and
all right,
pre-prepared scrambled eggs. Just like a little thing where you hold the plate under it and you turn a knob and it just dunks onto the plate.
I will get myself a cup of black coffee and a red flavored soy bar.
Ooh, I like the red ones. All right, then you get the captain's message about the Moore being missing. I was going to say that you also had a little bit of a stress from when you met with Dr. Vicer, but it sounds like you've managed to calm yourself down, so you should be back to clear again.
All right.
Do you take any actions about checking the ship out, searching around for the wayward stowaway?
I will search very hard in the space between the meeting room, the galley, and the galley in the bathroom.
Okay, got it.
And then once I have thoroughly searched all three places, I will key through to the bridge and say, not down in the galley.
Thank you, Davis. Helpful as always. That was the captain, and I had a good dollop of sarcasm involved.
I'm just here to help, Captain.
All right. Cut back to Dr. Honig, who is currently standing on a stepladder with a flashlight in hand, and grabbed onto this vent grate to open it up.
So this might be a weird question, but are the vents people-sized? Like, could a person be in there?
Why are the vents big enough for people when they only need to move air, right? The vents in this part of the ship, I'm going to say, are about 1.5 feet, which is to say somebody could be crawling down there, but it's not going to be comfortable for anybody.
Right.
So not really people sized, and they're not designed for people to be moved around. There are
Right, and also
conduits and Jeffrey's tubes and things like that you could have people be able to go down, but not these air vents.
Yeah, and also theoretically, if I had been moving the thing around and I hadn't already seen it, and if it was a person, I would have seen something because it'd be taking up the whole space.
Yeah, well, I mean, you just looked in the front through there, but you're only getting slats, and you might need to like actually open it up because you're also kind of at a weird angle. So what you'll need to do is like open it up there, and then like kind of lift yourself up a little bit, so sort of put your head and face right over the lip of that.
Which I am trying really hard not to do.
Sounds safe.
It's super safe. Trying to think of if there's any way I can like finesse something. I'm not sure if this would help, but is there like a broom or something in the lab that I could use to like prop it open and then look at it from a distance, so at least I could not have my face right there? Or
yeah, so presumably there would be something like a mop in a nearby cabinet, because you want to keep the science lab clean, especially from spills and whatnot.
Right.
And then you could use the mop and back up and kind of angle up there. As you look in there with some good distance, you see there's definitely something in there. Okay. It's like moving around, and you see what looks a little bit like a fleshy colored tail that kind of flips in and out of the corner. So it's like hiding like right around the corner from the vent. Okay. So if you can imagine a tube, I happen to have one here. If you imagine a tube and there's like a vent on the side of it here, it's like in the vent just past where the grate is.
Okay. And me propping open the vent with this mop has only made the thing move slightly. It hasn't made it scurry away, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So this thing's pretty confident.
Now, as you're like looking in there, and you're a few meters away, like you're 6 to 8 feet away from this vent. The captain's all call comes through, which causes you to momentarily lose distraction. And when you look back, this thing jumps right out at you.
Awesome.
And it like leaps on you, and it dives at you, and you get knocked on your butt. You take a point of damage as you sort of bruise yourself falling off of this whatever rickety contraption that you had set up there, and it goes wow and hides underneath a cabinet nearby.
Okay, but that's it?
Yeah, that would appear to be it.
Sorry, I'm writing notes. Okay, so then, and I would mark that in health just to confirm.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
When characters, every point of damage that a character takes represents a mild cut, abrasion, bruise, the kind of thing that can be repaired, that can be sort of healed with band-aids and painkillers and that kind of stuff. If you run out of health and then you take additional damage beyond that, you suffer critical injuries, which range from getting the wind knocked out to you to instant death. They're almost all universally bad. So you want to keep your health up on that point.
Yeah. So, and you said it hid in one of the cabinets?
So the thing leaps out of the vent, like jumps on you, knocks you down, leaps to the back of the room in a graceful cat-like fashion, and then scurries underneath like underneath like a table or cabinet or desk or something over in the corner,
Okay.
and hisses at you.
Okay. And would I be able to like identify right away that like this is something I would recognize, or is this something that I wouldn't?
It's a hairless Manx cat. You've
Okay.
seen a cat before.
Yeah, no,
this is a
I
hairless and ugly version of it, but yeah, you've seen one.
yeah, okay. I just wanted to confirm that it was actually just a hairless cat, and not
Yes.
like an alien. Okay.
Not what we all thought it might have been.
Yeah. So I have a non-fluffy friend now. That's cool. So with that, he just kind of sighs and then leaves the cat alone to
Yep.
have its own space and starts going about cleaning the lab.
Okay. Davis, you get a message from the captain. Because you basically told her where you were, so she calls to the living space area. The nearby comm terminal starts blinking for communication. Captain's like, Burns says she thinks she spotted more wandering around the lower engineering near the heat sinks. With our security team gone, I'm going to ask you to go down there and help Burns in corralling him.
You got it, Captain.
Yeah.
You can
Let me actually back that. She phrases it as a direct order. Go down there and help. Not, she doesn't ask.
You got it, Captain. You can tell the director he can bill me, and then I'll head that way. Is actually with a fair amount of expediency, because
Okay.
I don't want Burns to deal with whatever this person is doing down there, especially dealing with it in that part of my ship.
So, as a sort of a quick route to get down there, there are shortcuts that you can get down there, but one of the quickest ways is to go past the rear EEV at the back of the ship. And as you go by, you notice that the door's open. That's unusual. Like, it's not supposed to be open. It's not the thing that could normally be left open.
Well, since we are where we are, I will shut the door.
Okay. You hit the button, the door shuts.
And then
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing. Looks clear.
Yep.
And then I'll head down to try to meet up with Burns.
Okay. You come down and you hear Burns before you see her, because she's like, Moore? Mr. Moore, are you over here? And you guys come around the corner sort of at the same time, and there's this cross section, like the hallway goes straight and makes an X. And the and one of the pathways that comes off of that leads down to the heat sinks. Another pathway leads up to the engine room, and then this is also sort of just a lower engineering part. And right sort of about in the middle of this X is a body slumped on the ground. Now, this part of the ship, there's a lot. It's supposed to be well lit. Regulations say you're supposed to be well lit, but lights go out all the time, so there's a lot of sections over here that's dark. However, this like lit area is almost like spotlight. This is on where this is, so it very much pops out. And you see Burns at the far end, and she spots you, and then she spots the body, and she's like, "Holy crap!" and goes running towards the body is.
Nearby terminal.
Okay.
Captain, you probably want to send the doc down here. We may have a situation. Think we might have found your missing patient.
Okay. What's his status? Is he talking?
Not sure yet. Seems to be busy dying. Let you know.
I think he's dead.
Scratch that. Never mind. He's finished. You should probably keep sending the doc down here.
All right. Immediately a call comes through to medical. Deacon to lower engineering. We found more. He appears to be maybe dead or in need of his medical assistance.
On my way. And I hustle.
Okay. Vicer, you're with Deacon presumably at this time or nearby. You can also proceed to go along too if you want.
I actually was thinking that Weiser would have been looking for more on his own.
Oh, that's right.
And
I
so
forgot.
I see very conveniently close to medical is the armory.
Okay, so you go check out the armory. Now, the armory door is locked, and traditionally the captain, the first officer, and the security have access to this to get into the armory. You could do an override because your company and your director, you could potentially do that. It would obviously note that you were the one that overrid it, but you could get the door open. You look in the window, though. There's a small wired window for the armory section, which is not much more than a closet. And you can see that there's a bunch of various guns um, and uh, and ammunition and that kind of thing that's just been kind of dumped on the floor and scattered around. Normally they would be like up on the wall on pegboards. There'd be shotguns, and the security team is like a couple pulse rifles, and Farquhar carries a smart gun, which she got clearance from when she was in the Marine Corps. And then there's like some personal defense, like EVA pistols, which fire little plasma bolts, and like service pistols, enough that the whole crew could arm themselves with something. And all that's been dumped on the floor. Um, and you can see that just by looking in through the window.
Oh, I'm definitely going in then.
Okay. So you perform a directorial override, or you could potentially hack the door by pulling
I'll
the
just
thing
I'll
off
just
and do
formally override it.
that. Okay. Do you perform an override? A quick glance tells you that quite a few of the weapons seem to be missing, but this is not unexpected because the security team is also missing, so that presumably they came in here and got their weapons before they went over to the station.
Yeah, in a hurry, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of time. The captain seems to be running everybody on short notice. Like, okay, we now got things to do. Get it done now. Go run.
Mhm.
And not really giving a lot of people chance to really to take things at their own pace.
Yep. Yeah, so I would like to arm myself and then lock the armory back.
Okay, there are a variety of weapons in here. Let me back up. There is no pulse rifle. There would normally be 2 pulse rifles and a smart gun. There's a couple shotguns that would typically be in here as well. There are also service pistols and an EVA pistol. You can
I feel like I'd be most comfortable with a pistol.
Okay. The EVA pistols are have more punch to them, but the service pistols are a little bit easier to use. They're like a 9mm standard kind of thing that officers might carry.
Yeah, Weiser doesn't get his hands dirty too much, so he would just take the 9mm.
Okay. For that, let me just give you the stats. Weapons have a bonus to hit and then have a base damage. If you shoot a target and you get any successes, you deal the base damage, and additional successes can be turned into bonus damage on top of that. And the service pistol, I believe, is +2 to hit and 1 damage.
Just added that to my gear.
Yes. On the bottom of the character sheet, there's a place where you can put that in.
Oh, okay.
And then there's actually numbered spaces sort of down below the manipulation skills. And you click on one of the other ones, it will give you a chance to fill in the blanks. So yes, it's a +2 to hit and it's a +1 to damage. And has no bonuses like armor piercing or anything like that.
Short range, medium?
It's medium range. Ranges in this is medium is like the next room or down a hallway. Kind of thing. Basically, anything on the ship that you're going to be able to shoot at is going to be at medium range anyway. So,
yeah. So I assume Dr. Deacon would see me doing this as she was also leaving.
I make no presumptions.
I'm not trying to hide myself. And
I know.
she's heading that direction.
Yeah, but you may have turned down to head over to the armory and start looking through the window when she ran off. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it to Dr. Deacon to know if she saw you go into the armory or not. That's up to her.
I may have given you some side eye as I kept going because I've got better things to do than babysit you.
So, Moore is lying face down in a pool of his own blood. There is a spray of blood that runs across the wall and a little bit onto the light, giving this like red and kind of a coppery burning smell as the fluorescent lights are burning off the little bit of blood that's sprayed on there. Burns has reached down and like gently rolled him over because he was kind of lying on his stomach, and gently rolled him over, and his whole middle section is missing. Davis, you've seen a weapon, you've seen something like this before. This is what it looks like if you take a shotgun and you put it in the small of somebody's back and pull the trigger. Their kind of whole stomach plug area goes out, and there's a spray of blood that sort of matches with that, and there's a big section that's missing out of there.
Did it look like he had been shot in the back before she turned him over?
She had turned him over by the time you had come up there.
Okay.
You can certainly check that out.
Nah.
This is, this dude is dead, and not just dead, he's dead in a bad way. I'd like you to gain a level of stress for me.
Okay. Dang, Burnsy, he died ugly. All right.
Oh, she's actually, let me do a thing here and see if she can manage to keep it together. She's not happy with what's gone on here, and she's got the shakes, but she's like, and it's kind of like holding in her lunch a little bit, but she's managed to back off and she's keeping it under control. Wow. Who did this?
I don't know, but if you feel like you're about to spew, take a few steps back, because only thing worse than a big pool of blood is a big pool of blood and puke.
Oh, she takes several steps down the hallway and leans against a wall and is doing the thing where you don't want to vomit, but yet you're not sure if you need to or not. About this point in time is when Deacon passes, seeing Burns looking like she's nearly vomiting on the wall, but not quite, and Davis standing over Moore, because convenient for story.
All right. So I pause and look at Burns and say, you need to meet me at sick bay or medic bay, whatever I'm going to call it. Change my mind. After I'm done here, because we have to talk. Now, moving on to he's definitely, that's dead. Mm-hmm.
Astute medical observation, Doc.
Yes. So I'm assuming one of you found him.
That'd be Burns.
Okay. Is Burns in a condition to talk right now, or should I just
I'm fine.
give her the boot? Okay.
I'm okay. Yes, I'm fine. She turns towards Moore. She turns away from Moore. Yes, I can answer your questions.
Okay. So you found him. What was he laying? Was there anybody else around?
He was just right. He was just right there, over there, on his lying on his belly, and there was like blood on the floor, and the grates and on the wall there, and I kind of rolled him over, and all I did was just roll him onto his back.
Did you hear anything before you found him?
No, I didn't. The captain called out to say that he was missing and we should look for him, and as I started looking for him.
Okay. All right. Take it easy.
Okay.
We still need to talk, you and I. We're gonna put a pin in it though. So
yes,
I'm gonna go over and look over this body. I'm gonna glove up and I guess poke around, literally.
So you checked out the body, and looking around, there are two things you notice. First off, that initial assessment that he might have been shot in the back, there's no evidence that that's the case. There's no like burns around the around the wound. No, none of that, like little bits. There's no entry hole.
wound, or
There's no entry
there
wound.
it is.
That's weird. What's weirder is as you're poking around on the inside, Moore's vital organs are atrophied. Like
Parasite.
maybe like a parasite, or maybe like he had some sort of like wasting disease where the body there is a disease that does this where the body starts cannibalizing its own organs for reasons. Mike is not a medical professional and doesn't know the name of this, but
Necrotic
Dr.
tissue.
Deacon is, and would know about this potential condition, which is a possibility, but more tests would be required to properly diagnose that. He is definitely dead. He's probably not going to be getting back up. Probably. Most people in this condition don't.
I'd assume not. Once you lose your abdominals, like, you're done.
Yeah, you kind of need
You're
that
just-
stomach plug area to live.
Just a bit. Am I able to tell at this point? I mean, probably testing's involved, but just at first glance, how long he's been dead? Like, how coagulated is the blood? Is it still
He has
flowing?
not been dead for a very long time at
Okay.
all.
So this is extra
Minutes.
messy and gooey.
We're talking minutes. The body is warm. You also notice he's got a tremendously pained expression on his face, maybe related, but also not necessarily unexpected if that's what's happened to him. Looking around, also, I'm presuming that Davis is also checking in the vicinity.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to have any. There doesn't seem to be like any weapons on him. There's no like shell casings or anything in this vicinity that somebody might have like fired a weapon and then nearby.
Can I check and see if there's CCTV, anything aimed in this area where I could have like seen him come down here?
There,
see what happened here.
Some of the hallways that lead into this area have cameras on them, but the ship is big. It doesn't have a lot of cameras. There's lots and lots of blind spots. And it's not even unreasonable for somebody to wander the ship and just not come up on any of them.
All right.
And this particular hallway junction doesn't have anything, so there's no way you're going to be able to see this.
Then, yeah, I won't even bother. Well, I guess I'll go over to the doctor, and quite seriously, only thing I've ever seen do anything like this to a human body is explosive decompression or a shotgun blast to the back. Doesn't seem like either happened here.
I would agree with you there, Davis. And so I'm kind of judging based on, and I don't know if this is beyond what a character would like. This character would be able to piece together, thinking that she's pretty science-minded. Like, this is a big ship. It takes a long time, I would assume, to run from one end to the other. This person's been dead.
It's about a quarter mile long. 400 meters. That's about a quarter mile. So
it's a jaunt.
It's a jaunt. You could run, even in reasonable condition. Like, you could do a quick jog from one end of the ship to the other in 5 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's possible that whatever happened to him, like the timeline matches from him leaving to him showing up over here. Yeah, with I think it's been about 25 minutes, 30 minutes in between.
So I'm gonna call up for some help to get a gurney, get him on it, and escort him back to medic bay. So
Davis, there's that like down the hallway and around the corner there's a small storage room that has a flatbed like cargo thing that would work really well as a gurney for this.
Sure.
All right.
Hang on a minute, Doc. I got a hand truck that could probably do the trick.
A hand truck?
Yeah, like a truck with wheels, but you move it with your hands.
I know what a hand truck is, Davis.
Just saying about one.
Okay, get the hand truck. But be gentle.
The captain calls down to Deacon and says, what's the situation?
our guest has expired very recently.
Murdered? Do we have
To be determined. Something unnatural happened.
all right.
I've been doing this for a long time. This does not necessarily happen in nature without some external force being applied, or not applied, but being from within. So, whatever that word is. My science brain knows the word, but my player brain does not. That word.
That word. All right. Find out what happened, and I want to see everybody back in the meeting room and have you give me a report as soon as you know.
Will do.
So, Davis.
Yeah.
You go off towards this supply closet, which is down near the heat sink section. So on a ship, because space doesn't have a way to really dump heat. Heat gets transferred to heat sinks, which then can get dumped later. So it's always a little hot, and because of humidity, it's always a little bit humid down there. And as you pass by, you notice on the wall of the heatsink section, something that looks like black, like a black plastic or something. Looks like it's been dripped down the wall, and a little bit right in that corridor leading into that area.
I would not recognize this type of substance, presumably, right? It doesn't look like
No.
motor oil or grease or anything like that.
It's not oil or grease. You reach out and touch it.
No, I'll take
No,
a
okay.
screwdriver and poke it with a screwdriver.
It taps like it's hard.
Interesting. Can I scrape some of it off the wall?
Yeah, it requires a little bit of chipping. It chips and it's brittle.
All right, I'll take some of it and put it in a dirty rag that I'm sure I have in some
Yep.
pocket, and I'll save that for later to give to, Captain Science. Okay. And I'll find ourselves a hand truck and clean it off as best I can. Grease goes on the floor.
Yep. Dr. Honig.
Yes.
So you heard the all clear message. You cleaned up the stain.
I did.
What are you doing at this point?
So before I go to the meeting room, I actually really quickly wanted to get that sample from the open cryo chamber that had the substance that looked possibly similar to what I found on my floor.
Okay.
I'm also going to make sure that the cat is still there, and if it is, put some water kind of on the floor, and then just lock the door so the cat doesn't leave.
All right.
In case it's a weird cat.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do that.
Sweet.
And you manage to. The cat hasn't left. You managed to sequester the cat in the science lab. Now, unless the cat can find its way back into the air ducts, it's not going to be able to get out without getting the door open.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of opposable thumbs and height means it's not likely to go anywhere. So as far as the substance goes, it's kind of benign. It's the kind of thing that would over some time would grow into crystals that would look pretty.
Okay.
And you seem to remember Rose mentioning something about crystal growing. It's probably her science function that she was doing.
But I was wondering about the substance. It's the same substance that would be, question.
The substance from the EEV.
Yeah.
Is determined to be actually cat urine.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
You found out where Sergeant Scrotum came from.
That's fair. All right. With that, then I head to the meeting room.
All right. So, you get to the meeting room about the same time as the director, and then Davis has come back with the Gertie for Moore and Burns. But you show up at the meeting room. Now you would expect there to be the you would expect there to be like the captain and possibly Rose also already there, but you don't see signs of the captain, and you see that and you don't see Rose, but you do notice something as you come in, across the view screen, because there's like a big flat screen panel that is what you guys saw earlier when you were looking through the Malaga. It's got like somebody sprayed milk on it. You would call it a blood spray, but it's got white fluid instead of red fluid. Now synthetics have a milky white blood, if you will. It's a combination coolant thing on there, and
does there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to just ask if there was, since I would know synthetics have white milky blood, do they also have some kind of like biological signature, kind of like human blood does, like where you could identify that it comes from a specific synthetic, or no?
Yes, I will say yes on that case. If you were to lab trace it, there would be a trace to say it comes from this particular synthetic on that. But as you go over to kind of look at the blood closer, you see half of Rose on the floor.
Never mind, that answers that question.
It is the top half. She looks like she's been actually she's not. It's not the top half. It is a whole Rose, less about 6 inches across her middle section, where it looks like somebody had maybe shot her or stabbed her with some like big piece of pipe to the middle, and she like, and then her like face has been cracked slightly. They've got like a very realistic fleshy skin on there, but it's been somewhat ripped off, and you can kind of see the plastic bones underneath of this crack. And she like looks at you and says, "Dr. Honig, I'm afraid I may not be of assistance. There is something dangerous aboard."
What did it look like?
I was not able to get a full view of it. I've been reviewing my memories, and all I saw was a large black shape and a large black spear. Is the captain okay?
And there's no sign of the captain in
There's
this
no
one?
sign of the captain.
I haven't seen the captain. We can check on that.
I would want to head to the bridge to see if the captain was at the bridge.
Okay.
Since that's pretty close by.
Yeah, it is close by. The captain is not on the bridge. There is a blinking light of on the communication console.
I press the button.
This is Kingsbury. Malaga, do you come in?
Go for Weezer.
Okay, good. It took us a little bit to get the communications going, but it's good to hear your voice. We are onward to getting the cargo. Things are really bad over here. They're really messed up. There's a lot of crew members missing. The station's in worse shape than we thought. Wong said that he heard something moving around, but we have met some of the locals, and we've managed to locate where the 2 other crates were. One of the crates was opened already. It looks like somebody had used thermite on it because it had melted a hole in the floor even. We've got that stashed, but it's still going to be another hour or so before we can make it back to the Malaga. How are things going over there?
We have a bit of situation, but you need to get those crates to us.
A situation? What's going on?
We're still establishing the facts. But Rose is dead. The Moore is dead. There's something on the ship.
What something?
We don't know what it is.
How can Rose be dead? This you could put a shotgun round into
Focus
into
on
a
the
synthetic.
mission, soldier.
All right, fine. We'll get the crates and get back as soon as possible. Kingsbury out.
Press the button.
I'm going to say that Kingsbury's attitude with what was going on and talking about weird shit happening over there, and that the crates weren't where they thought they were, but they think they've got them. I think it's going to stress Vicer out a bit.
Yeah.
Also, I would say seeing Rose mangled on the floor would stress both Honig and Vicer out.
So I'm at 3.
I presumably yes. The captain is missing. Now you've got more on this flatbed. It's like a flat cargo crate. It's easy enough to move him. Presumably you take more back to medical because that's where you would normally do that, and then proceed to the meeting room. Deacon Davis,
Where's Burns?
with you.
Okay, I'm gonna follow the doc's lead.
Yeah. You're presumably pushing the cart. Burns is making sure that Moore doesn't slide off or whatever, and is pointedly trying to not look at him though. So you've deposited Moore there, and you guys make it to the meeting room. Unless you've got something specific that you want to take care of in medical in the meantime.
I think I want to check on Burns, because I've had my eye on her since she had a really rough wake up and hasn't seemed to fully come to. Just a little bit, just a quick chat.
Okay. So Burns is like, yeah, everything's fine. Things have just gotten way crazy, and I'm keeping it together. Don't need to worry about me, Doc. I'm going to keep it together. Everything's going to be okay. So just in the chat, the chance you have to chat with Burns, you're able to calm her down, because you could tell that Burns had basically been under a lot of stress. Like, she started extra stressed. She hasn't really done anything to calm herself down. And in the chat you have with her, because this is the thing that Dr. Deacon does, is just makes people feel comfortable. And specifically because you're spending this as an action, I'm going to say that you actually managed to knock off a couple levels of stress. One, because you're cool like that, and two, because you're spending an action to make this happen. And Burns is like, okay, maybe I haven't taken it too much. Should I just go and like calm down, go to my cabin or something? You gonna need me for this?
Well, my medical instinct says yes, you need to go rest. The fact that we had something unnatural happen to our visitor makes me incredibly cautious. So my cautious brain says stick with us, but I'll leave that up to you, Burns.
Okay.
It's okay to need that rest.
All right, I'm gonna go maybe lie down for like
Burns.
10 minutes.
Burns, I don't know about that. I think, sorry, Doc, but Captain wants us all on the bridge. We can rest later. Plus, we don't know how your patient here expired, as you said, so I wouldn't feel too safe with any one of us moving around all by our onesie right now.
All right. Then with Davis being in charge, like, okay, well, I guess I'm with you then. Go ahead.
Well, then I'll just look very sharply at Burns and say, take it easy, though. No heavy lifting. Nothing over 10 pounds. No extra duty. Stares at Davis.
Wouldn't dream of it, Doc.
Onwards.
All right. So Dr. Honig is cool as usual and is kneeling down on the floor as you guys come in near where you find Rose behind this meeting room table. And presumably the director comes back in there as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't relay any of that information that I got from the away, though.
Yeah, it would probably freak them out a little bit.
If Honig's there, I'm gonna hand him the dirty rag full of whatever I chipped off the wall.
What's this?
I don't know. You tell me. I was kind of hoping you could take a look at it, Honig. Found it down in engineering. Never seen something like that before on the wall. Kind of near where we found the dead guy.
All right. So he pockets that, and we'll check it on it. I will check on it once we're done here. Was the captain in the bridge, director?
Oh, bridge is all clear. I think we should stick together.
Has anyone checked have we checked the captain's quarters yet?
Wait a minute. Where's the captain?
Right,
Captain's
and
different.
where's Rose?
I'm afraid I'm at low power, and so until I can get repaired, I might switch off.
Wait, hang on.
That's a good idea,
happened?
Rose.
She's
Here-
lying on the
here-
ground. Her face
Here
is
around the
broken.
table.
Damn it. Yeah, this is like, and she's lying in a pool of her own blood, which is, of course, milky white instead of red. Something attacked me.
Something?
There's something on the ship.
Whoa, back up. Thing?
Wait.
What do you mean?
I was
That's
with the
not what you
captain,
led with?
and we came into this room, and the captain froze for a moment, and then something hit me from behind, and it lifted me off of my feet. So whatever it is might be strong. I'm a bit heavier than I look.
Quick question about Rose. Are we able to access her memories if she's not online? Like, could
Yes.
we power her down and then
Yes,
review them later?
it involves a process of sticking 8-inch long metal spikes into her cranium and then interfacing it with a computer. It is a thing that can be done. It's something that is not something that you like to do.
Right.
You're aware of the procedure, but it's like, it's sticking a bunch of metal spikes into somebody's head. It's kind of, it's hard to sort of get past that, especially when the person looks human.
Right. And can I just get a gauge on like how long it would take to fix her?
You could probably get her back up to normal in a few hours. Looks like her primary pumps have been ruptured, which has caused a lot of that fluid leaking. The fluid works like a coolant, but also like there's like a biomechanical stuff that within her system, so she kind of needs that. Her body, metabolizes stuff and produces this fluid to mark with that, or you've got stockpiles, so like you can fix her, but it's going to take a bit to get her back on her feet. Probably a few days to get her back to operational. Probably a couple hours.
Okay.
Or you could like cut her head off and jam metal bits into it.
Would prefer not to do that. But depending on how the situation is, are there any pressing questions before Rose goes offline while I give a go at fixing her?
When's the last time she saw the captain?
I was with the captain just before I was attacked. Precisely, and she tells you a number of seconds, which translates into about a few minutes ago.
Whoa. We need to get the Marines back here right now. We are not prepared to take on something that's whacking a damn synthetic.
I spoke with the Marines. They're on their way back.
Did they say how long they would be?
They're running into trouble of their own, so they didn't have an exact ETA.
What kind of trouble?
We got to get
Director?
into the armory. It's not a safe work environment. It's not a safe place.
I agree. We need to be armed. But we should go together.
Before we get a little crazy, let's at least gather our facts since we're all in the same room. So we know what Rose has told us, that there's something big, it's on the ship. We know that the Marines are running into problems of their own. Are they the same problems as ours? Do we know of, and I think Davis and Doctor, you both said that, or we heard that Moore is dead as well. Is that correct?
Oh, hell. I know where it is.
How do you know?
Oh, that's not good either.
I presume.
Mother's voice comes in over there. Core meltdown process initiated. Ship set to self-destruct. You have 10 minutes to reach minimum safe distance.
Well, time to get to the shuttle.
Damn it,
Yep.
I hate when I'm right all the time.
We're not going to lose a ship today.
No, it's in the shuttle. We can't use the EEV. We got to get to the Jordan. That's where I found it. The door was open. Something's in there. I shut the door.
The EEV?
That's what I said.
So an open door tells you that it's in there? An open door
Tells me
means
I
you can
don't need to go
freely.
in there. The EEV door should have been kept shut. That's part of the company regulations, company man. I'm not
know.
going back in there. We got to get to the Jordan and get the hell off this ship.
So, as a
We're
quick
not gonna
reminder,
lose a ship today.
there are 3 ways off of the ship. There is the forward EEV, which houses 4 people with enough cryopods for 4 people to sleep in it. The second EEV, the rear one, which is the one he's talking about, can load 8 cryopods. This is the one that if there's an emergency, like from the shuttle, like they would get dumped in there. For those of you who've seen the films, this is the EEV that was featured in the 3rd film. And then there's the shuttle Jordan, which can seat, which is basically like it's like a pickup truck almost thing. It can seat 4 more people can sort of sit in there, but it's not designed for more than a few people. And then, of course, if you get on the shuttle Jordan, there's nowhere to go other than maybe to the station where things are going off. You have 9 minutes
We're not
to reach minimum safe distance.
Well, then we got to get to the 4-8 EEV. The aft EEV is a no-go.
Would we know how to, like, fix the core or anything with that, or do we need? Is it just a situation where we need to just get off the ship?
I mean, you could probably do it. You'd get to the primary reactor and have to mess with it.
Yeah, we're gonna fix this ship. We're not abandoning the ship. I don't know why you.
There's
think that we're just
something
gonna-
running around out there killing people.
There
Come on,
is,
Davis.
but
I thought you weren't a coward.
We
The
have
shuttles
no
won't-
Marines. I'm not a coward, but I'm not stupid either.
the shuttles won't
Boys!
get us far enough.
Okay, by the way,
Stupid
at
to
this
let a
point in
ship
time,
to get destroyed for no reason.
everybody gained a level of stress just because. Go on.
Yeah. Are you listening to all this? God, stress. So stressed. Forget the ship. We need to leave. Unless we can fix it, we have to leave. And I don't think we're going to fix this. Where's the captain?
It's a damn good question.
Maybe the captain was the one on the EEV.
No way, timing doesn't line up. Rose said the captain was here with her
Okay.
a few minutes back. I saw the door to the aft EEV open long time ago. This isn't safe. We can't sit around here flapping
All
our
right.
jaws. We got to move.
But
You
where will
have
the
7
escape pods
minutes to reach minimum safe distance.
We don't have the time to fix what's wrong with this ship. We can't get down there. We got to go to the 4 ATV. Captain had headed there too.
go? But where will the escape pods be able to go? The closest thing we have is trouble anyway.
So the EEV does have capability of transporting itself, but it only seats 4. Like you can only put 4 people on it if it's going to be acting like that, bro.
I say a company man stays with the ship if he's so desperate to keep
I'm not
it
leaving
safe.
this ship. I'm gonna go fix it, and I
Fine
start
by
heading
me.
down to the reactor myself.
Okay,
Okay.
so that was Vicer heading to the reactor.
Yeah.
All right. So Vicer leaves. Burns is not sure what she wants to do, but she's like, "Well, what about Rose? Like, she's
Rose doesn't need a couch. We can just get her there.
okay." Burns goes over and like lifts Rose up and hoists Rose over her shoulder, and Burns is like, she's only 20 and she's actually like quite strong, but she's like struggling under Rose's weight.
I'm gonna help her out because, and while I'm doing, Doc said nothing over 10 pounds. Give me that.
All right. Yeah, Rose weighs like close to 300 pounds. So it's going to
Okay,
take
well-
both of you guys a lot, like working a lot.
We'll work
to get
together.
Honig.
Yep.
What are you doing at this point?
He's a little torn, because he also thinks the ship is a lost cause, but also doesn't want to, cares about the company. Yeah, he'll just follow y'all to the escape pod.
Okay. So I'm getting that.
He's also going to try to make sure that Rose doesn't leak any more of her fluids while they're carrying her.
All right. For this, I am going to ask that you make a Comtech roll.
Cool. And for the modifier value, it would just be stress, right?
No, you just click Comtech.
Cool.
I don't think you've got any particular tools in this case. If you were in the science lab or medical, that would be a different story. So yeah, you're able to stop Rose from injuring herself further. She's gone into a low power standby, almost like asleep on a laptop. But if you wanted or needed to wake her up for some reason, you could. But otherwise, she's basically out of commission.
Okay.
Deacon, Burns, Davis, Rose, Honig are all heading forward on the ship, heading towards the front EEV. What are you doing?
Same.
Okay.
I'm out. I'm getting too old for this. Mm-mm.
And I think I've got this set up correctly, but give me just a second. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so we're going to cut away to the engine room. Vicer hurries down there, presumably, to get to the main reactor room. And you get the door open. It's locked, but you use your directorial override. And there's the captain sitting at the terminal, holding an EVA pistol in her hand, and she's just like, "I wonder which of you mutineers was going to come and stop me. Somebody let something loose on my ship, and I'm going to go down with the ship, and you're not going to stop it." And she takes a shot at you, which gives you a level of stress, but doesn't actually hit.
Okay.
Now you can see the terminal blinking there. You've got 3 minutes to reach minimum safe distance, and you feel that with a with a good Comtech roll, you could probably stop the reactor from doing this overheat. But it's very clear that the captain has set this to self-destruct, and that she's basically guarding the self-destruct mechanism.
Can I use a manipulation roll to try and convince her? I want to convince her to turn it off. Captain, what are you doing? Turn this off.
Okay. Now I will point out that manipulation is, in this particular case, is going to be an opposed check. And so you
+1 for my gun.
Yeah, Al Capone once said a kind word and a gun is more effective than just a kind word. So I will give you a +1 for that.
Yes. Okay, manipulation +1. 5 levels of stress.
You got no successes. Would you like to push this roll?
Yes, of course. I will push.
I will also point out that you've got some story points.
Oh, I'll just use a story point. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll use all my story points.
Yeah, so I think you've got 2 at this point.
I've got. Yeah, let me just check. I think it's 2.
I think it's 2.
Yep. Okay, yeah, I'll just use my story points.
Okay. So, well, I mean, you get 2 successes. Is that going to be enough? Did you want to push this roll to try to get more?
I'll push it as well.
Okay, so add a level of stress and then click the manipulation button again.
All right.
Hey,
okay,
there you go.
So that is 3 successes plus 2 more. So total of 5 successes and a possible panic. Let me roll the opposite here. So you've got 2 successes on her. But I need you to roll panic for me, which is surprising that this is the first one of these we're making. On your character sheet above close combat in the upper left, there's a panic button. Go ahead and click that for me.
Okay, character sheet, panic. Roll panic.
Okay, so
That seems high.
that's high. High is usually bad.
Oh no.
The
So
D6
she's
plus.
like, you're starting to get through to her. You're like, we've got to turn this off. It's got to work. And then she's like, okay, fine. And so she turns and she hits a few buttons, and this is normally where you would break out in like just scream. So I'm gonna say that like you start yelling at her, and like more so than usual, like you're just yelling at her to get it done quicker.
I snap.
You snap, and this causes her to also potentially panic. And she's like, she ends up like putting the pistol down to repunch this thing, and it falls off of the table and it hits the floor, and there's like a zap, and it hits something that starts shooting steam into the room. But she's pushing these buttons here, and that's when you see this thing show up.
Uh-oh.
It like a panel comes off of the upper wall, and this black thing drips out like a cat would like come off of a thing, and it lands a lot softer than you think so for its height, and it has shown up in this particular scene. And then we're going to cut away to the other group, and I know we're at time, so I want to keep this going snappy for this last part. You guys get down to the EEV and begin prepping for launch, which is not a process that takes very long. You dump Rose on the floor, you're working that, you're about to abandon ship. And Honig, you remember something. You left a cat sitting in the science lab that you could go and just go and get. What I would like you to do is I would like you to make an empathy roll for me. Now, all you're going to do is you're going to click base dice, and you're going to put in the number that is your empathy score.
Okay, so base
because
dice.
this doesn't apply stress.
Okay. 1 second. Base dice, and then the number would be for my empathy, right?
Yes, whatever your empathy score is, which is 2 or 3 or something.
That is so cool that that's a stat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just... No, there it is. Okay.
Okay, so you have failed a roll, which means that you are perfectly fine with leaving Sergeant Scrotum to die on the ship.
Which my actual self is like, no!
Which is one of the fun things in this system where it's like, yeah, if you don't... if you've succeeded the check, you can't do the thing that will end up hurting or killing somebody helpless. But since you failed, you're good to go.
Not your cat.
You guys are just... you guys get on board. You've done the original tech. I'm pretty certain that you guys can, between all of you, succeed at the simple comtech roll to get the ship launched. So, you launch. And you have left. Yeah, I should have moved the screen. Anyway, back in engineering, this guy shows up and begins menacing you. Vicer, Captain Stone is focusing on disabling the ship's core from exploding. But you're also far from it, and you could make a break for it. I would like you to tell me what you do at this point.
Start firing on this thing.
Okay. So I need you to make a ranged combat roll. Add 2 from, and actually you can even do this by clicking, I think, on the weapon if you've got it
just
filtered.
click attack with it.
Yeah.
Any modifiers? Except for the 2 bonus.
It should come in with the regular modifiers. If you've built the weapon, it should be fine. Yeah, you did that. So go ahead and roll for me a panic.
Roll a panic.
All right. So 2 things happen when you roll panic during a ranged combat attack like this. First, you empty your magazine on it. You shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot until the magazine's empty. But you did manage to score a hit. Second thing that happens is you're just continuing to stand there, frozen in place, while you click the gun, which does not seem to have stopped this thing, and empty, and that increases your stress and also Captain Stone's stress.
7.
Now I need you to roll. You do 1 point of damage, and I'll take care of this roll offhand. The alien has armor, which we'll roll to see if you actually do any damage to it. And you seem to not cause anything resembling injury on this. The alien comes forward, stalks towards you. And Captain Stone looks up and just yells, and the alien bats her out of the chair and slides her across the floor, dealing a small amount of damage, beating her up but not killing her, but she's now been tossed away from the desk. And she's just like, I don't know what to do. And she's also frozen in panic. And as the alien stalks towards you, there's a bright flash, and everything goes silent. And from the EEV, you see an explosion that rips the ship, starting in the middle and then ripping out to both ends. The EEV gets hit by a large piece of debris and begins to tumble. And then as the automatic gyroscope on the ship brings it back to stable, you can see a little speck, which is the Pamela, leaving the station almost at the Malaga. Roll credits.
That was amazing. I love that. That's a really cool system. Yes.
I really like this system. I find that the system is very good for a lot of things. I really like the stress mechanic because it's easy enough to get rid of stress as it goes along, but as stress will build up and build up and build up, you're more and more likely to get that stress panic, because the next thing that was going to happen is both Captain Stone and Vicer were, if the ship hadn't blown up, they were dead. They were panicked, they were locked in a trap, and they couldn't defend themselves against the alien who would just kill them at that point. But one of the other cool things about it is that stress is also not just cumulative, but it's also infectious. So as I mentioned there, when Vicer empties his gun in a panic, it also panics Captain Stone. And this actually was pointed out to me because as I mentioned before, I've run this particular module that I wrote several times. And one of my friends afterwards sent me a text message about it, thanking me for running the game. And he had a great line, and I'm pulling up the text message now. And which he said,
thank you, Boom. Appreciate you using your words.
Yeah, the game's stress is very useful, and having somebody because his significant other had played as Burns, it's like having her playing a perfectionist that lets stress build up and spill out over into other people is a good way for her to externalize some of the habits she's developed without having to defend herself, because it's a character. And so doable. So double thanks for that, because he was able to actually, because the way they were playing it is that she was playing as Burns, who, as you guys have determined, and kind of the way the character's built, just lets stress build up, because she's just always working and always on the move and always needs to do something and won't stop to take a break until she panics. And then when things did happen, and then the players were trying to solve problems, she's just panicking, and it's just causing everybody else to panic and stress, and and be on that too. And it was able for them to talk about it. But I also want to thank you guys for playing in this because I was able to see how other people play and take care of the characters, because I wrote the scenario and I wrote the characters with a bit, but seeing actual somebody else outside of my group that I don't know well, like every time I run this, I get to see somebody else playing the characters in the way. I really liked the relationship that developed in this game between Vicer and Davis. In fact, Davis I want to props on that. You're
Thank
great.
you. It said rivals, so I'm like, let's do this. And I know Kyle well enough to where I know he'll play along. So.
Excellent.
And also, Brianna, thank you so much for putting up with us so much.
Yeah.
I can hang. I can do that.
It was an absolute blast watching you guys with us.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And yeah, Frey, when you were with the cat, I thought you were a goner. I thought you were done.
I did too.
A couple things about this particular system that really works on that, and they pointed out in the manual is that you should feel free to copy stuff and absolutely play on expectations, right? Make the party think that this is a thing that's going on. Give them hint, because you would think if you knew what the monster was that it wouldn't be scary. That is not the case in the system. People who have seen the films know what kind of stuff they're getting into, and when it's like, oh crap, there's a face hugger in the air vent, why am I going to go and look in the air vent? This is a sure way to get my character killed. It just causes that level of panic to happen, and it's just great.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really cool.